Hello YouTube. So I decided that I wanted to make some kind of reintroduction. I've realized that in the 10 years that I've been on YouTube, I have never really shown my fat photos. Other than the one video I have in which I have like over 250,000 views, that's the only YouTube video in which I showed my bare belly, which is my biggest vulnerability. But I realized I never showed a lot of my before photos. So here are a couple of my earlier photos. In this photo, I was about 16 years old, 17 years old. I'm on the far right with my two sisters. And what I used to do is I would buy a lot of men's polos because they were the easiest for me to fit in because I could buy them baggy and feel like I was hiding my body somehow. And then here I was graduating from high school, and so I was 18 years old, and this is when I remember weighing about 215 pounds. And in this photo, I'm starting to get up there. I was a newlywed, and I'm guessing I was probably about 21 in this photo, and I believe that I was probably around 250, 260 here. Even when I started this YouTube channel, I don't remember exactly how heavy I was. I want to say that I was anywhere from 210 to maybe 215 pounds, something like that. The reason why it's hard for me to remember is because for so long, I've been over 200 pounds. When I began this journey, this was somewhere back in maybe 1999. I was working for a family as a nanny, and the gardener had come up to me and asked me when was I due. I was not pregnant. So that was it for me. That was the day that I decided I needed to lose weight. I was 280 pounds, and I'm only speculating that. I don't know for sure because our scale only went up to 200 pounds. So when I stood on the scale, it said I weighed only 50 pounds because the little needle had gone over past the 200 pounds, and I'm guessing, I don't know. I do know that I wore a size 24 pants. Women's plus size 24 pants, not 24 inch. Yeah. So what I did to lose the weight was I joined Weight Watchers. It was really big then. I'm sure it's still big now, but that was the thing at the time to do. And I ran. I got on the treadmill and I ran 45 minutes every day for 2 years. Oh, I do have to say that when I was running, the best thing about it was I ran a 3K, and I don't remember the time. Maybe it was just under 2 hours or something like that. I don't know. But I was just so proud of myself because it's something I never imagined I could do. I never in a million years thought that that body would allow me to complete any kind of run. And yeah, it wasn't, you know, a 5K I think is only 3 miles, something like that. But still, it was something that I voluntarily did. So that's one thing that I can say came about from that running, but never again will I run. To this day, I hate running. I won't do it. I have a hard time even doing cardio as it is, so running is not up on that list at all. And I lost the weight. I lost 110 pounds in 2 years, and I got down to the lowest weight that I had ever been. I believe it was 179. I have never been that small as an adult. So for me, that was wonderful. Well, I ended up getting pregnant with my son just about a year after that lowest weight, and I gained 80 pounds with the pregnancy. And I'm not blaming it totally on the pregnancy. It was my fault. I let the pregnancy be my excuse to not have to run anymore, to not really have to watch what I ate anymore. I was working as a preschool teacher at the time. A lot of the parents, they cared so much about me that the philosophy was you're eating for two. So they would bring me lots of good food to eat. They would make me food and I ate it, and sometimes I ate it in addition to my lunch that I already ate as well. So I really can only blame myself. So after I had my son, I became very depressed. Like many women, I suffered from postpartum depression. It was not diagnosed. My then at the time mother-in-law, she knew something was wrong because I no longer had that drive and that fire in me to go to the gym and to watch what I was eating. The fact that I didn't want to leave the house was the big red flag to her. And my then husband at the time totally ignored it. He saw the signs and he told me years later that he just didn't care. I became very depressed at myself because I had let myself go. I'd worked so hard for 2.5 years to lose that weight, and then there it was again. Back up to, I think at that time I was like 240 pounds. I do remember that when my son was about 2.5 years old is when my ex and I had separated. And once again, I returned to Weight Watchers because I figured I needed help again. And I knew that someday I was gonna enter the dating world, and I knew I did not want to be sitting at 245 pounds to do that. So I went back to Weight Watchers, and I do remember it was like 240 something. And I'd lost about 25 pounds in the first couple of months. I had done P90, it wasn't P90X yet, it was just P90. So I had done P90 and I had great results because I lost 25 pounds. I felt great. And then after that came the P90X, and I moved on to that, and I didn't really lose a lot of weight then. I don't remember if I was going to Weight Watchers anymore. At that time, I may have been just trying to watch my own food intake. And then I joined the YouTube community. Hi YouTubers, it's Sarah Says Hi. It is Monday, June 23rd. The scale is saying that I'm 205, which is a 2-pound gain from yesterday morning's weigh-in. And that really helped me. It helped motivate me. I found other people that were struggling with the same struggles that I had, and we were supportive. We used to get on, I can't remember the name of it now, but it used to be like a chat, like a huge chat where you could chat with like 10 people and you could see all their screens. And it was a way to be a part of a community and feel their support. And I love that. I miss that about the YouTube community. That's part of the reason why I came back. I was doing at-home workouts, like all the Beachbody programs. And also Turbo Jam's Fat Blaster. And I had even won like $300 from their daily logins. They used to have this thing, if you logged in daily to show your workouts, you got entered into a weekly drawing or maybe monthly drawing. I don't remember exactly, but I had won $300 and I was so stoked about that. So I really am a proponent for the Beachbody systems, but I outgrew it. I know I needed something more than just at-home workouts. So then I went back to the gym, but this time it wasn't to run because I was so burned out from running. I never wanted to run on the treadmill again. So I joined the YMCA and I did a little bit of cardio. I really was starting to get piqued by the weight training. They didn't have all the great big squat racks and all that they do now. But I remember feeling kind of intimidated because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was afraid to go over there and use the free weights because I didn't know how to use them. And I was afraid to use the weight machines because even the weight machines, I didn't know how to set the weights on them. I didn't know how to do it. So I was really intimidated by it, but I was so intrigued by it. Years into it, I kind of just stopped posting so much on YouTube. Wasn't losing weight quickly. I still had a lot of people that were rooting for me, and that was wonderful. And I had the house mortgage to take care of. I had an adjustable rate mortgage. Don't ever do that, side note. But every year my mortgage was going up and up and up. So my parents invited me to come live with them back in lovely Fresno. And the goal was that I was gonna try to rent out my house in the city where I lived. Needless to say, that did not go well. I ended up having to sell the house. So I was living with my parents. And around that time is when I pretty much stopped with YouTube. I just decided I couldn't do this on YouTube anymore. But I did not give up on my fitness goals. I still was trying to pursue losing weight. That's always been the goal. I did try Weight Watchers here in Fresno for a little bit. I kind of started to feel guilty because at that time I was really peaked into weight training. So I started hanging out on the bodybuilding.com forums, which I am still a member of today. I don't really post on the forums anymore, but I still use Body Space. The support that I was getting on the forum, a lot of them were saying, why don't you just try counting your calories? Why do you need Weight Watchers to tell you what to eat? So that started to make sense to me, and I knew that eventually I would have to get to that point. So I went ahead and stopped with the Weight Watchers. And as I was reading on the bodybuilding forums, I started getting intrigued more and more by the weight training programs. So I started with a 12-week transformation training program, I guess you call it. And it was by Lee Labrada. And I had no idea what I was doing at the gym, but at least his program told me what to do. It told me, if I had to do Arnold presses or whatever, it explained to me how to do the exercises. So I went in there with my little notebook and I started doing weight training. That started to feed the beast inside of me, because from then on I was hooked. There was no way I was ever gonna go back to, no offense, but I was never gonna go back to Beachbody programs. It wasn't enough for me. I needed something more, and weight training was it for me. So that's what I look like. Here's my arm. I've been working really hard on my biceps. That's after several months of training them now. So around that time, I started dating a guy here in Fresno. He was a little bit intimidated by the fact that I wanted to weight train. So after that relationship, I dove hardcore into weight training. This time it was with the purpose to lift heavy. It wasn't just, an introduction to weight training. It was to lift heavy. So I started learning how to squat, and I hurt myself. The very first time I squatted, I hurt my back. I just had walked up to that squat rack, loaded the bar. I'm like, I've seen people squat a million times. I could totally do this. Wrong. I hurt my back. So I ended up having to go to physical therapy. I think for about 6 weeks, my right leg was numb all the way down from my lower back, all the way down through my knee, where I could not feel it. So at all times, whenever I touched my leg, like if I was getting out of the shower and I was drying my leg, it felt like someone else's hands were touching me. Going to that physical therapy is actually what got me into my career that I have today. And I totally owe it to hurting myself, because if I had never hurt myself, I would have never been exposed to physical therapy. And I love what I do. Anyways, that's a side note. But eventually the numbness went away and I got all feeling back in my leg again. So what I decided to do was I watched an awesome video that is still on YouTube today. So you think you could squat. That video taught me how to squat properly. I watched that video over and over and over again. So the next time that I went into the gym, I knew what I was doing. I loaded that bar, I did my squats. I was so happy I didn't hurt myself. So that really stirred the weightlifting. And, along came my next relationship. I was so madly in love with this guy, and he was so supportive of me going to the gym. And I thought, oh man, this is amazing. This is the best relationship I've ever had. And then towards the end of the relationship, he started to make comments about, I had become obsessed with Dana Lynn Bailey. And if you don't know who she is, she was Miss Olympia 2014, I believe. And she just has the most amazing physique. And I know I will never, ever look like Dana Lynn. Never. I mean, just her physique is phenomenal. And I could train until I'm blue in the face every single day. I know I just don't have the genes to look like her, especially because I have so much loose skin. I will never have abs or anything close to hers, but I admire her so much. I just think she's amazing. So he used to get really nervous that I had admired her so much. So he would make these comments about my body was gonna be manly. My intention is never to look like a man. I love being a woman. I want to look feminine, but I want muscle and I want to be lean and I want to get rid of my loose skin and I want to be fit. So after that relationship ended, I still continued with the weight loss. I went through these phases where I would lose 15 pounds and then slowly I would gain it back, and I would lose those 15 pounds and slowly gain it back. So honestly, I can pretty much say that from 2000, I think that relationship ended in 2012. And so pretty much for the last 6 years, I have struggled losing the same 30 pounds over and over again. I have tried calorie counting. I've had my thyroid tested. I've tried different weight training programs. I've tried adding cardio in. I've taken cardio away. I've done more weight training programs. I've cut back on weight training. I did keto. I did keto for 2 years. And the keto did help me lose 30 pounds because when I was in school, I had gained 30 pounds. And I loved keto. So I stayed on keto for 2 years, even though I didn't really make any more headway past that 30 pounds. The lifestyle, I loved the keto community, but I had to stop keto for a couple of reasons, which I will share in another video some other time. But after keto, I needed something because I was slowly starting to put back on another 15 pounds again, like the same cycle, it was right around the holiday times. And I decided to try Avatar Nutrition and do macro counting. So it's not really if it fits your macros. That's not the idea of macro counting with Avatar Nutrition. The idea is it's more of a flexible dieting program. Eat within your targets. I started Avatar Nutrition last July, and I was really good on it for about 3 months, I would say. I was on the fast fat loss setting, and I think I lost about 18, 19 pounds, something like that. But as the holidays approached, I kind of stopped with my macro counting. And then what had happened this year was from January into July, every month I was trying to get back on my macros, and I just couldn't. I would come home and I would binge at the end of the day. So starting in July of this year, I decided to hit that reverse setting and not so much worry about the fat loss, but just try to see what would happen if I did the reverse diet setting, which basically bumps up your macros and your calories. And over time, you do eventually gain weight or you maintain weight. So in the very beginning, I lost a lot of weight. I think I lost 10 pounds my first month doing the reverse diet. And so today is October 7th. I've lost 17 pounds, and it's kind of just my same little thing. I hit around that range, and then I plateau. So my goal is to continue on, to stick to macro counting. I don't know where I'm gonna be when I'm done with this journey. It obviously is still a continuation. My goal is to get as lean as I can and then have a consultation done to remove the loose skin on my stomach. But I figured this video was due. I figured I needed to lay it out there, why I came back, and so you can see where I came from, because a lot of you that are watching this right now, you have no clue who I am. You have no clue that I am about 92 pounds lighter than I've ever been. Because if you would have seen me 17 years ago, it would have been a different story. I would have been unrecognizable. I do have some footage of my earlier YouTube videos. I think there's one from 2008, 2009. But you can just see it in my face. When I was looking at it today, looking at those little clips, I was like, oh my gosh. And I think I was even quoting that I had weighed 205 pounds or something like that in those videos. And so today I'm sitting at 188. So, that's still a 17 pound loss. But just seeing my face in that video and just seeing, even though I weigh 188, I think if I was to look at my body at 188 years ago, the body composition is very different. Weight training has done wonders for my body. And then even when I looked at one of the videos with my butt, I think it was from 2011, before I started doing squats and all that. And I look very lean. Looking pretty lean except for the belly. But I was looking at my butt and I was like, oh my gosh, what happened to my butt? It's so flat. It's just crazy. So today I definitely have more butt, thank God. And I have more muscle in my legs for sure. The arms pretty much still look the same. You're gonna see it in my other video because I'm like flexing, and I don't know. I just don't know if that's ever, I don't think it's ever gonna go away, no matter how much I have, you know, weight train and stuff. I just don't think it's gonna get any more muscular than this right now. I hope you enjoyed this video, getting to know me just a little bit better. And please subscribe down below if you haven't already. Like this video, and stay tuned because I will be posting more videos of I really want to do the cooking recipes because that is just so much fun for me, and I hope that some of you out there also enjoy watching them. But I find that making these delicious foods is what helps me stick to my macros. If it wasn't for me cooking these delicious foods, I guarantee I would not be sticking to my meal plan at all. It's very easy to go off track when you don't have your food right there and ready for you, and when it's already there, you have no excuse. Except for when you do a cheat week, which pretty much is what I did this last week. I had a couple of days of bad eating, but I'm moving on. I'm back on track again because I'm gonna do this. So I don't know when I'm gonna get this video up, but I hope that you learned something new about me, and I hope that you will return for more because I'm not going anywhere. Thank you for watching.